Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, we're going to do a deep dive into the world of Formula One night races.
Oh, cool.
It's more than just, pretty lights. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at an article from the Spanish news site, Octiario,
Okay.
titled, What Night Races Are There in F1 and Why Are They Run at Night? And it's really interesting because, this is a relatively new thing
It is.
in Formula One. For decades, it was always,
Daytime.
daytime.
Yeah, the classic.
So what sparked this shift?
Well, I think, like a lot of things in Formula One, it's kind of a blend of, pushing boundaries and addressing logistical things. So the first ever night race was held in Singapore back in 2008
Oh, wow. Okay.
at the Marina Bay Street Circuit.
At the Marina Bay. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, is that
sure.
significant, being a street circuit?
Yeah, I mean, street circuits are temporary tracks,
Okay.
unlike, purpose-built tracks.
Right.
So they're set up on public roads, and they bring the race right into the heart of the city,
Right.
which adds a whole other dimension to the experience for spectators and drivers. Marina Bay is a particularly challenging one, with tight corners and limited space for overtaking.
Wow. So you've got this incredibly challenging track winding through a city,
Yeah,
and then they decide to add the element of darkness.
exactly.
What must that have been like for those drivers?
I mean, a huge adjustment for drivers. They had to adapt to the glare of those floodlights.
Yeah.
The constantly changing shadows and
Yeah.
kind of the disorienting effect of racing under artificial light. And not to mention the heat and humidity of Singapore.
Yeah. Speaking of heat, the article does mention that climate control was a major factor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Cooler nighttime temperatures are a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Especially in those hotter climates.
Yeah.
Reduces stress on the engines, improves tire performance,
Makes sense.
and just makes conditions a bit more bearable for the drivers who are already pushing their physical limit.
Right.
So, it's not just about the spectacle. It's actually about, optimizing performance as well.
Oh, for sure. It's not just aesthetics. It's
Yeah.
about, pushing the limits of the sport.
Yeah. And that first Singapore race really captured the world's attention. The nail-biting finish, and it really set the stage for what night racing could be.
So who emerged victorious in this, pretty revolutionary race?
Fernando Alonso
Oh, okay.
snagged that historical first win.
Wow. What other races have joined this nighttime spectacle?
Well, after Singapore's success, more and more circuits started to see the appeal of night racing. Bahrain joined the party in 2014,
Okay.
lighting up the desert sky at the Bahrain International Circuit. Then there's Abu Dhabi,
Mm-hmm.
where the Yas Marina circuit offers this incredible kind of visual fusion of the setting sun and the powerful artificial lights.
Oh, wow. And speaking of iconic backdrops, Qatar joined the lineup.
Qatar did, yeah.
What's unique about that one?
Well, known for its MotoGP races, Qatar joined the F1 Night Race Club in 2021 at the Losail International Circuit.
Yeah.
It's a high-speed track, long straights, flowing corners, makes for exhilarating racing under the lights. And then there's Saudi Arabia, also debuted its night race in 2021. Their Jeddah Street Circuit, which is the longest in the world, weaves its way along the Red Sea coastline. Just an incredible backdrop.
And of course, we can't forget the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
A brand new addition
Very new.
to the F1 calendar in 2023.
Yeah.
This race sees these incredible machines zooming past iconic landmarks like Caesar's Palace.
I mean, it's like they took the concept of a street circuit and injected it with Vegas energy.
Yeah.
You're there in the grandstands,
Right.
the roar of the engines echoing, the sparks are flying under the floodlights. It's a different beast to, daytime racing.
So night racing has gone global. We've got Asia, the Middle East. We're hitting the Strip in Vegas. Clearly not just a passing trend. So you might be wondering, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
With racing under the lights, it's not just about aesthetics.
Yes. No, it's not just about aesthetics.
Right. There are some real reasons behind it.
Yeah, there are.
So we've got climate control. We've got the visual spectacle. But there's got to be more to it than that.
Oh, there is. There's definitely more to it than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is actually the global audience.
Ah. Wow.
Night races allow Formula One to tap into those primetime viewing hours
Yay.
in different parts of the world, like especially Europe and the Americas.
So a race in Singapore
Yeah.
could be happening like at a reasonable hour for
Exactly.
someone watching in London or New York.
Yeah, maximizes viewership
Right.
brings the sport to a wider audience.
That's smart.
It's been a strategic move that's really paid off for Formula One.
And it makes sense, right? From a business perspective,
Oh, yeah.
I bet those broadcasting deals
Huge.
are pretty lucrative
Absolutely.
when you can offer these prime time slots
Yeah.
to a global audience.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you can't forget about the sponsors.
Right.
I mean, night races provide this really unique platform for brands to showcase their products, their logos.
Under the lights.
Under those dazzling lights. It's high-impact advertising at its finest.
Yeah, it's like this perfectly choreographed thing
It is.
of speed and technology and entertainment all
Yeah.
playing out on this global stage.
Be pretty cool.
But while night races bring all these benefits,
Mm-hmm.
there must be some challenges, right?
There are. One thing that people have brought up is the impact on drivers.
Ah, okay.
You know, these athletes are already pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
Yeah, for sure.
And adjusting to racing primarily at night
Mm.
can really disrupt their natural rhythms.
Yeah, that's a good point. Our bodies are kind of programmed, right,
They are.
to operate on this sleep-wake cycle.
Yeah.
And I imagine just suddenly flipping that around can't be easy.
No.
What kind of effects are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, think about jet lag. When you travel across time zones,
Right.
your body takes time to adjust to that new sleep-wake cycle.
Yeah.
Racing at night can have a similar effect, potentially disrupting sleep patterns, hormone levels, their energy levels.
So it's not even just about adapting to different lighting on the track. It's like a whole body adjustment.
A whole body adjustment. And it's not just the drivers, right?
Right. Of course.
The teams, the crew members, everyone involved.
Yeah.
They're working tirelessly behind the scenes, often putting in long, long hours
Right.
to ensure the cars are in peak condition.
Yep.
Shifting to more night races, that could significantly impact their schedules
Oh, for sure.
and put a strain on resources.
Yeah, it's interesting how it impacts,
The whole ecosystem.
yeah, the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
We talk about viewership, the sponsors,
Mm-hmm.
but there's this whole human element that needs to be considered.
There is, yeah. And on the technical side, there are some really fascinating adjustments that teams have to make.
Okay, let's get into that.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how the cars themselves are adapted.
Sure. Well, one key area is visibility.
Yeah.
The drivers need to be able to see clearly despite the glare from the floodlights and the contrasting darkness around the track. So teams will often use specific visor tints for the drivers' helmets
Interesting.
that help to reduce that glare and enhance the contrast.
So like sunglasses at night?
Kind of, yeah, but way more high-tech.
Right, with a purpose.
Exactly.
Not just fashion.
Yeah. And then there are adjustments made to the car setup itself. For example, brake cooling becomes even more crucial in night races.
How so?
Well, because the brakes don't have as much time to cool down between braking zones.
Oh, okay.
So teams might use different brake duct designs or materials
Right.
to improve that cooling efficiency.
So it's not just about flipping a switch
No,
and turning on the lights.
it's not as simple as that.
There's all this strategy that goes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It adds another layer of intrigue
To the sport.
to the sport. It's like this chess match,
Yeah.
with teams constantly trying to outmaneuver each other
Right.
by optimizing their car setups for those specific conditions.
Yeah. It sounds like night racing has added this whole new dimension to F1,
It really has.
both in terms of, how exciting it is,
Mm-hmm.
but all these strategic complexities.
Yeah.
I wonder, will this trend continue?
Good question.
Could night races eventually become the norm?
That is a great question. It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
And it raises some interesting questions about the future of the sport.
Like, what would happen to those classic daytime races
Yeah.
that have been part of F1 history for so long?
It's hard to say.
Would they become a thing of the past?
I mean, one thing to think about is the fan experience.
Right.
Right. Night races right now, they have this certain allure
Mm.
because they're special. They're
Mhm.
different. But if every race was under the lights,
Yeah.
would it lose some of its magic?
Would it just become another race?
Another race, yeah. And how would that affect fan engagement and attendance?
And the drivers,
Yeah.
we talked about the impact on their sleep-wake cycles.
Yeah. If it became the norm, would they have to adapt their entire lifestyle
Wow.
to function at their best?
And how would that impact, like, their longevity in the sport?
Yeah. It's a lot to think about.
There's also the cultural aspect, right? In
Hmm.
some parts of the world, nighttime is about, relaxation, family. Other places, it's more social.
Right.
How would this shift be received by all these different fans from different cultural
It's a
backgrounds?
great point. I mean, because F1 is so global,
Yeah.
any change like this needs to be really carefully considered in light of the impact on those fans
Mm-hmm.
all around the world.
Mm,
It's a complex issue with no easy answers,
for sure.
but it makes the future of the sport all the more fascinating to think about.
Yeah, it's like we're at this crossroads. We've got tradition on one side and innovation on the other. How do you think F1 will navigate all of this as it continues to evolve?
It is the million-dollar question. I think we're going to see some experimentation, as F1 tries to find that sweet spot between, you know, maximizing its global reach, but also preserving, the essence of the sport.
Right. So maybe we'll see a mix of daytime and nighttime races, placed strategically throughout the calendar to cater to different audiences and time zones.
Yeah, exactly. And we might even see like some hybrid races emerge, ones that start like in the late afternoon and transition into the night.
Oh, wow. That would be incredible
It would be.
to see the light changing as the
Yeah.
race goes on, those sunset shots as the
Yeah.
cars are battling.
It would be pretty spectacular. A visual feast for sure.
And think about how that would, impact the strategy
Oh, yeah.
for the teams. They'd have to change their tires.
Absolutely.
Pit stops, even,
Visor tints?
the visor tints.
Throughout the race.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, we haven't really talked about tires.
Oh, right.
How does racing at night affect tire degradation compared to, daytime races?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a bit of a mixed bag, actually.
Okay.
On one hand, those cooler track temperatures at night, they can help to reduce tire wear.
Okay.
But then on the other hand, the artificial lighting can sometimes create like these hot spots on the track surface,
Oh, wow.
which can accelerate that degradation in certain areas.
So they have to really look at the data
Yeah, they got to analyze all that data,
and come up with their strategy.
adjust their tire strategies for sure. Just adds another layer of complexity to the sport, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Sounds like there is no shortage of challenges and opportunities
Right.
as F1 kind of, goes deeper into this night racing. So what does this all mean for us, the fans?
I think it just means we're in for a thrilling ride. The sport is evolving. It's evolving so fast, and we get to be here. We get to see it all unfold. There's going to be some spectacular moments, some innovations, probably a few controversies
Right.
along the way.
And as we talked about, we get to be a part of this.
We do.
We get to share our thoughts, our excitement,
Share your concern
concerns. Yeah,
as F1 kind of charts its course into the future.
exactly. Whether you're a diehard fan or, just discovering the sport,
Yeah,
your voice
it
matters.
does. So stay engaged, stay curious. Let's see what happens.
Well said. On that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. If you could design the ultimate F1 night race, where would it be? What would you include to make it a truly unforgettable experience? Let your imagination run wild? Who knows? Maybe your vision will become reality one day.
Maybe.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the passion for F1 burning bright.